What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning into Channel 99 today. I've got with us an amazing guest. Her name's Caitlyn. She is the daughter of Jason Hosick. He is a former... Oh, yeah, I'm recording, dog. You're f***ing it up, dude. Anyways, Caitlyn is the daughter of Jason Hosick, who was a guest on the Free World podcast that I produced, and... great conversation. We go from pianos to aliens pretty damn quick. So make sure that you subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Pass the episode along. Tell Turtle to f*** off. And have a wonderful rest of your day.
Shut up and sit down.
I listened to Art Bell so many times at night, and man, he got me even to install that SETI program on your computer so that you would download information from NASA and your computer would process it for them and send it back.
My dad did that.
Yeah,
dude.
man.
He totally was into that.
Art Bell was pretty awesome, so I might have a few thoughts on that as well.
We could geek out, man. I've had some really cool shows. We've had some first encounters. We've had a couple third encounters. On the show that have talked about some weird stuff, shadow people.
Cool.
Yeah, man, I've been haunted by shadow people. so I geek out on that stuff just because it's like off and on in my life over so many years. So is that my phone? It was my phone.
Yeah. How do you explain intuition? That's like one of those just unreal things that are totally real.
Yeah, you can't. Go say hi.
Ada.
She's
like,
no. She just wants to hang out with me, I guess. But you really can't, though, right? Mm-hmm. And the really interesting thing is when when I take in the whole picture of everything that I've learned and everything I've researched, and when I think about life in general, and that kind of leads into the artistic side of what we're going to get to with Caitlyn here. But when I think about it, it reminds me more or less of like science fiction that has more or less been a prophecy than like a prophecy over fiction. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially now that we're finding out about how Mars has like water, ice, has atmosphere. The moon now has an atmosphere when we previously didn't think it had an atmosphere. When space, they believe now, is liquid, like 95% liquid or something like that, instead of, and it makes sense because when you look up, it looks a lot like water.
It's pretty wild.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it totally looks like water. So
we live in an age where we can remember before we had access to technology to spread information like that. Mm-hmm. So it's just so expanding on scale and scope of all things. They're going to look back on us just in 20 years and think we were so simple.
Oh, we are so simple. Mm-hmm. And we only know what we know, right? Mm-hmm. And I follow a lot of different blogs and stuff like that where it's more like unexplained stuff, where it's UFO sightings, Bigfoot, Mothman, all the crypto stuff, and plus, everything else on top of it. I think it's important because at the end of the day, whether or not you are religious, God is not from this planet. He created this planet. He essentially is an alien. So if you are Christian or whatever it is, if you believe in a higher being, God is essentially an alien, and his son is essentially an alien. Like, that's just how I view it, and they're not from this planet. So why would it be any crazier to think or suspect that it's possible there are other higher intelligent life forms out there who do not have a direct impact on the development of mankind. If you think about the last 50 years, they think, if you really want to geek out, and you may, you're getting me on a roll right here, but if you think about it, and you want to Google out of place or out of time, like items or out of place items, they've got footprints, like human footprints, next to dinosaur footprints that were like embedded in stone. They solidified. They're there. And it's like proven that mankind has been around for a lot longer than they think we've been around. And it's always changing.
Yeah.
It's always changing.
I love the new discoveries of civilizations underneath the ocean. That's wild.
Oh, dude. Dude, can you imagine? Or Antarctica? Can you imagine, like, think about, well, for instance, there's that one, it's basically like a hammer and chisel that they say had to have been, it was solidified in rock and found in, like, Texas. And they say the only way that rock could have formed around iron, and this thing was made out of iron, it was like 99.9% pure iron. It's like some of the most pure iron that they've ever found. And it's like with petrified wood, and it's got a whole head on it, and it's millions of years old. And they're like, the only way that could have been formed within this rock would have been to have sat here for millions of years. There's a woman who was found without her head, feet, or hands, but it's the body of a woman on an island, and she's found within like a bunch of rock that was millions of years old, that predates any of the history that we know. Are you familiar with it's the Graham Hancock book. I read it too. Something about giants, right? Am I correct on that?
I don't remember the name.
But
he
talks about the history of man and how it's like misinterpreted, and he's not a scientist, he's a journalist. So
yeah, he's very poetic when he talks.
Yeah. So it's a very different angle, but he speaks very well, and like the points he makes like are very valid, and he follows up, and he has another book, again off the top of my head I can't think of it, but great, another author, like a great author who kind of explains history on a different level from what we've been taught, when it comes
just new
to
understanding
the curriculum that we have in our standard schooling.
To think that education and learning wouldn't evolve,
right?
Like is kind of silly, and he brings so many new ideas. It's pretty exciting for sure.
He's a trip.
Every time I listen to him, I have to rewind it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, be like, did he talk about that? Bigfoot.
Yeah, right.
We're in Idaho, by the way.
Caitlyn, what do you think of Bigfoot?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask Caitlyn, what does she think about aliens, Bigfoot? You're on Channel 99, so anything goes, by the way, except your dad can tell you what does not go. But
well,
I don't censor.
I don't really know. I don't really think about those things like very much.
You heard of Bigfoot though?
Definitely, yeah.
Do you think Bigfoot could be real though?
I guess I would have to listen to some conspiracy theories to really have an opinion on that.
What do you think Bigfoot is?
I don't know. Some sort of large animal, or I don't know.
Like an ape, maybe?
Yeah.
A really good podcast, if you listen to podcasts, there's one called Sasquatch Chronicles. And this is a guy who's been at it. He just hit he's coming up on 500 episodes, maybe just hit it. But this guy documents and has people on his show that talk about their experience with Bigfoot. I'm talking like special operations military people who are dropped off in the middle of mountains, who have infrared stuff, to people who are doing guerrilla grow, marijuana guerrilla grows out in the middle of the mountains in California. So we're actually in one of the top hot spots, the Northwest, for all Bigfoot sightings. I personally believe that Bigfoot is more than likely like a very primitive but tribal hybrid. So they may or may not be the missing link. So what's crazy is our president Theodore Roosevelt talked about running into a Bigfoot.
He's phenomenal. He's
Yeah,
the reason why
he talked
national
about
state
Bigfoots.
parks are around.
That's right, because he's probably protecting Bigfoots. Maybe that's my guess. Because he literally talks about it in his autobiography, not his biography, but like he wrote it and he talked about it, which is crazy. So
they're real.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they are.
We're finding
Maybe
new
they're not.
civilizations all the time of people. There's so much land.
Dude, it's insane.
And especially being in the Pacific Northwest where they say he is. Maybe.
Well, they say that 30% of everything on a map has been touched by man, and 70% is flyover. And when you take into consideration that 7 billion people live on this planet, and we know of that within our 30% range, we have no idea if there are full-blown civilizations that live on Antarctica that have UFOs that are like thousands of years more advanced. We have no idea. Nobody can go to Antarctica. We don't know. Who knows? Nobody.
Yeah.
Because nobody can go to Antarctica. And if they do, they go to very isolated areas and they are trafficked there.
Yeah.
They are not like, they don't have free range. It's not like you can just like get in a car and drive around and just check out Antarctica. You can't do that. And when you look at all the names that are associated with Antarctica, we're talking like big names like Rockefeller and all the names associated with global government, global power, which is crazy. Because where did Hitler want to go? Antarctica. Where did he establish like bases? Antarctica. Where did they think that like he went for the Fourth Reich? Antarctica. So where do they think Hollow Earth is? And if you look at NASA pictures, where is like the only place they do not have pictures in the very center? It's going to be Antarctica.
It's where Hoffa and the Kennedy tapes.
So weird.
You okay?
Yeah.
We're geeking.
This information's making you
Oh man,
unsteady.
She's geeking. All right, so let's talk music. By the way, so
Yeah.
how long have you been playing music, and how many instruments do you play? You play so many of these.
Yeah, so man, I've been playing music and liked music for as long as I could literally remember. When I was young, my parents always tell me that I would always go in front of them and have a fake microphone and perform and play music or
We had
so-called
concerts
music.
every night in the
Yeah.
living room.
Yeah. And so I vaguely remember in an old house that we used to live in the upstairs we would have we had like a microphone hooked up to the computer, and I always would like sing in my ABCs or whatever.
Christmas songs.
Christmas songs, yeah, of course. But yeah, I've grown up with a microphone to my face or an instrument in my hand, I guess. But I really started to like get into it when I was about, I would say 6 or 7. I started playing at the Boise Rock School. And so they have like bands that they make up, and so the kids can like play together and jam out, and they have like monthly concerts that they have where all the parents and the friends come in and just like have, so that the kids have a good experience with that. And so
Are you familiar with the Boise Rock School?
I'm not. I was just about to ask about that.
It's a phenomenal nonprofit
down
here.
a jump or something?
It's downtown off of 14th in Idaho. And
Okay.
it's a beautiful nonprofit where they take kids and they inspire them with what they're into, instead of how we learned music, where we sat next to an old lady that told us how to play and then kind of would come down on you on how you played it. And it was a
Right.
song that you'd never heard of and probably would never play if you wanted to play.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they pair the kids up with, hey, what do you want to play? What kind of music do you like?
Yeah.
And that's the music you play. And then they set up legit gigs about every other month. They rent out the Linden Building or other
Or the
cool
water cooler, yeah.
all kinds of stuff, and they have lights and a merch booth and,
Yeah.
and
So
pizza.
how can people follow that?
Just jump online. They have a Facebook group or page, but yeah, Boise Rock School. They're phenomenal.
It's awesome. Yeah.
She was in a few bands there,
bands, yeah.
playing the keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah, I started playing the keyboard and singing with them and in the bands and so you can critique me on this. I don't remember the order. I was so young that I started playing instruments, but I started with them and I'd do bands and stuff like that. And then I started taking piano lessons from this lady out of her house that I didn't do for very long, maybe like half of a year, 6 months-ish.
You got a foundation though.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. I learned more like classical stuff, but I didn't really like that and I didn't stick with it very long. But it helped me a lot with the keyboard of playing with the Boise Rock School. And then
How so, by the way?
like I don't just having more like if I had questions for her and she would help me with that and
She was a good mentor.
yeah.
You really
yeah.
progressed through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she would also have like little like recitals, I guess, at like nursing homes or something.
They
like
loved you.
that.
They loved you.
Yeah, but so
Great experience.
yeah, yeah.
Killer experience.
hmm And so I was with the Boise Rock School for forever, and then I actually stopped playing with the bands, and I just took private guitar lessons. But actually before that, I started doing vocal lessons, and I had a vocal coach. Her name's Melody English, and she's amazing. She actually I stopped taking vocal lessons from her because she moved to New York, but she's awesome. I definitely wouldn't be where I am without her. She was great. So I took vocal lessons from her, and then I also had a private guitar teacher at the Boise School of Rock because they also do like private lessons. And then at school,
That's when it skyrocketed.
yeah, definitely when I went solo.
And these were paid lessons?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at school, I started playing with the orchestra, and I played violin. So, yeah, it's
First chair.
super fun. First chair.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm in the advanced orchestra in my school now, 8th grade,
In the choir.
and in the audition choir, improv. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool. It's a great experience.
They get to mix formal attire and dance steps.
Oh no choreographed.
And
So do you practice a lot, or are you just naturally gifted? And
Oh my goodness. I practice all the time. I'm always in my room, playing my guitar or my keyboard or piano or whatever. Yeah. Mhm.
Let me answer this for her.
Mhm.
It's kind of the beautiful part of this entire thing is Caitlyn at each one of these steps, her first day, she was not the greatest. And it was completely her dedication and hard work that has paid off and has brought her to where she's at. So it's kind of that beautiful lesson that if you want something and you work hard enough, you can have it. And it's like one of those learning lessons that is so valuable for her and so gratifying for everybody in her life watching her just kind of chase her passion.
totally.
Sure.
I don't tell her to practice.
Well, and the only reason I ask is because when I was in like band and stuff growing up, I never practiced. But I did pretty well when it came to like chair assignment. And I played brass though, so I played trumpet and piano. And I didn't play a lot of piano. I played a little piano for the jazz band a couple times. But mostly it was just trumpet as far as like the things that I was kind of held accountable for that were not paid, and that was in school. But I did, I did okay. And the only reason I asked is because there are people who I knew who practiced all the time, and they tried so hard to be that. It's like first chair, which is awesome because you work super hard and you deserve it. Like anybody who puts time in and they're that good deserves it. But at the same time, somebody who's just good Like, they don't necessarily have to work that hard. I think they also deserve it just because it sounds good.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. They're
So
musically gifted. So
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah. It's like the guy who plays football or basketball. Like, you're going to throw the ball to the guy who can catch it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Like real life doesn't give you credit points. You're not going to get an increase on your salary just because you're part of the team. If you're not good, you're not good. That's real life, right?
Totally.
So you either put the hard work in or you're naturally gifted. And regardless, you can still be at the same level, right? Somebody could put a ton of work in and be extremely good at what they're like doing. And then you could have somebody who just gets it and they don't have to put all that work in, but they're at that same level. It doesn't mean that they're not at that same level. It just means that like they took different paths. And if I were somebody who were to hire, let's say, I don't know, an athlete or some type of somebody underneath me as far as like a corporate position or a musician, I'd hire somebody who puts the work ethic into it, just because I know that just because people are really good at what they do, they take that for granted sometimes. They really do. If they're really, really good at what they do, a lot of times, and I saw it, and I think the reason why I have this idea is because when I played football in college, year after year after year, I saw guys who were NFL eligible every year. I was like, dude, why are you not in the NFL? Like, this is ridiculous. You're so good at what you do. You should be next level. Easy. And it's because they were naturally gifted, right? Like, they could just sniff out the ball. Boom, they were on it. Like, it's a tackle after tackle after tackle. And then you see the guys who put all the work and effort into, like, the weight room and the off season. And the people who are naturally gifted, they didn't put the work into it because they took for granted what they had been given. Like, they just were able to run faster and lift quicker, and you know, they were able to like figure out the scheme a little bit better than everybody else on the field. But at the end of the day, I think the people who are above that, they recognize the time and effort that's put into it, and that to me signifies that an individual does not take for granted what they have been given, but they like amplify what it is they do have, and they make themselves better. And that self-progress is a lot more important. And I think if you look at like a lot of the teams and a lot of bands out there, you'll recognize a lot of those people were not God-given talent. A lot of those people worked a lot of hours to do what they want to do, and they love it, and they sacrifice.
Right.
And it seems to me like, and it doesn't matter if you're really that good, dude, make sure you recognize how good you are and the talent that you've been given, because at the end of the day, somebody who has worked their ass off to make it to that level will more than likely be recognized if you don't have like the right attitude, because people don't like that, you know. And somebody like you who has the talent, regardless of whether or not you've put in 40 hours a week or you're just super good at it, just keep doing what you're doing, because I think whoever it is that's out there who's looking for somebody like you, they'll appreciate like the work and effort that you put into it. You play multiple instruments,
Totally.
so it's not like your God-given talent like all together. Like, you've put a lot of work into it, period.
And it's
So,
relatable. You
yeah,
can transfer that to anything.
100%. 100%. Corporate world, dude, working with people is like, if you can play a piano, you can work with people. Like, if you can stand the frustration and the anger, oh my goodness. Like, I sat down and I've like put out, like, I put pieces down, and I scream and I yell at my piano sometimes. Like, how can I not get this? And I scream and I cuss at myself. But if you can handle a piano, or the only experience I really have is a piano and a trumpet, And the trumpet was just something that, when you go from a piano to trumpet, you go from like 80 plus, 80 something keys to like 3. It's a little bit different,
Yeah. Sure.
So the frustration level is a little bit different. But I mean, I relate a lot of like my piano work and a lot of the stuff that I've done musically and the frustration I've had, and video games too, by the way. Like Mario. Dude, if you have Mario patience, you can deal with anybody in the world. You really can. If you have Mario patience, you are God's son.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
And you are meant for leadership.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for sure.
For sure. Well, she's taken that over. It's why we had to delay this whole meeting with you. They had to get through their basketball championship.
Yeah, how'd you guys do?
They did excellent. They got to the championship game and came short.
Yeah, we had a great season. Like, our team was great, and we got to the championship game. We won all the tournament games. Actually, the one right before the championship was against our biggest rival, East, and so we actually beat them by 1 point. And we went to the championship, and we got pretty crushed by Hillside. So, but at least we came in second.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it was a really good experience, and I had a lot of really good girls on my team.
So do they blend the 9th graders now with high school, or
Yeah,
no?
uh-huh.
Do they really?
do.
Yeah,
They do.
they have 7th and 8th play together, and then all 9th grade sports are at high school. They go to
Crazy.
Timberline to play the sports.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So then next year you'll get, like, if you decide to play basketball, you'll go and play like a hybrid 9th grade.
Yeah.
And what do you play teams out in, like, Nampa, like CUNA,
Well,
like the 9 through 12 schools out
That's
in
all
Meridian?
the Boise School
Yeah.
District.
Uh-huh.
There's
Yeah.
about 6 schools that they play.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know they started blending the 9th grade football. I think they started doing football too that way, where they blend like the Hillside. What was it? Because I went to Capitol and I did some coaching there, and it was Hillside, Riverside, and Fairmont. I think they did like a total 9th grade team or something like that.
Sounds right.
Because like the numbers are so low.
Mm-hmm.
So they would do that to compete with like the Meridian, everywhere else. Because Idaho, I mean Boise does the 10 through 12, and everywhere else is the 9 through 12.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, to compete. But honestly, I do like I do kind of like the 9th graders going at it. I think that's important. It's like a JV for the JV squad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally.
Yeah, and good experience before, like,
Big
you
transition.
You get into the in high school. Yeah.
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 Because
I was a 9th grader in high school in Las Vegas, and it was pretty rad for freshmen to beat seniors, so we loved it.
that is cool, though.
Yeah.
That is really cool. What'd you play? Sports?
All the uncool ones. I did.
Golf and like tennis.
Cross country and
I'm just
track.
kidding.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd say the baton
Yeah.
and the flag.
It wasn't that cool. No.
Yeah.
That takes rhythm, right?
Palms.
Uh-huh.
It does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny. I actually played football at I'm sorry. I played I did a marching band set at a football game when I was like a football player.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really weird. But I've talked about this once before, and it's pretty weird being like part of the band, but also being on the football team.
Oh yeah, and at football games, that's the life of the party. It's the soundtrack.
It is.
So yeah, you get the crowd going.
So I played my own intro music.
That's fine.
essentially.
Very cool.
And halftime music. It was really odd. And after that, I'd never played again after that. Only because when I was a sophomore, I did not start on varsity. So after that, like junior and senior year, they kind of like pushed me out of band because it was me, a volleyball girl, a beautiful girl. Her name was just Megan, and she was like this tall redhead girl who played clarinet, but she was a volleyball player. and she crushed it in volleyball. But she was also like a killer on the clarinet, right? So it was like us and then another buddy that I played football with, and this big ass Samoan guy. His name was we called him Aaron Biggie, but he played a tenor sax, and so it was like the three of us. We did not go out and participate in the marching band during football season because two of us played football and one of them played volleyball.
Everything. Come on.
And the volleyball season was during football season. Yeah. So when you get off football practice, you go watch the volleyball game. Like you work your butt off. You go watch girls work their butt off, right? So you support your teams.
The overachiever.
Overachiever. I was there to support Capital High. Go Eagles. Go Eagles. So
I have a question for Caitlyn.
Yeah.
So even through the championship series, but back to your music, it was a pretty awesome experience being in here with her. It shook the room with emotion. It was very fun, and I've seen her do that in front of lots of people. So tell us how you get through the anxiety or the build-up, or if you even have that. Like what's that process for you?
So I think so. When I was younger, it used to be a lot worse. Like I would be almost crying in the bathroom, needing to pee every 5 minutes. But it's gotten after a number of times performing in front of people, and I think the Boise Rock School having monthly performances really helped. Just getting used to that. The anxiety kind of wears off to the point where I would say that I'm anxious and I'm nervous 2 or 3 days before the performance, and then when I get there I'm fine and I'm cool and excited, and I turn the nerves into excitement. And so I think that it's after getting to do it a bunch of times, it definitely helps.
Do you perform a lot, in public?
I try to get as many gigs as I possibly can, but I've played at Shangri-La, Tea House. It's this vegetarian restaurant or something.
It's a tea house.
Yeah.
Tea shop.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's way cool.
Yeah.
She booked it out. It was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Standing room only.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was cool.
Posture.
She's bussed at Boise State games, the farmers market.
Yeah, that's
on
fun.
8th Street.
That's awesome. Doing the farmers market, you get so much money. It's cool. Yeah.
She puts shows on. It's really cool.
That's way cool.
It's fun.
She's definitely what you would call a gamer too. She steps up when the light's on her. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely work great under pressure.
How do you book your gigs? You just call people and say, "Hey."
Definitely through my dad. My dad has a lot of connections. Yeah, definitely.
I love it. It's so
my
crazy.
Manager.
I just smile. It's like candy to me. I would take it all day.
Yeah.
I love listening to her.
Yeah, it's fun.
But are you a corner dad, like the dads?
Oh, yeah.
You are a
Absolutely.
corner dad.
You should have seen the lecture she got right before we walked in here. Do not embarrass me. Do not embarrass me.
If you F up, you are grounded, child.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Exactly.
No Facebook for 2 weeks.
Total opposite.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's exciting to watch your kids do just things that they want to do. That passion is very cool. I got another question for you.
Okay.
Collaborations. If you could collaborate with anybody, who would it be?
Oh my goodness.
And what instrument would you want to play?
I actually
You play so
Have you thought about this before?
Yeah. My top 3 favorite artists come to mind is Ed Sheeran, Sam Smith, and Billie Eilish. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Why is that?
I really like their styles of music, and they're my 3 favorite artists, and I feel like their songs and their obviously I don't know them personally, but their songs and how they pursue their music is really relatable, I guess. And so yeah, I really like them.
Have you heard of Brett Dennen? Oh, okay. I think I have a pretty good playlist of guys and women that I think that you'd probably really relate to as far as musician wise. I can forward it to you.
Yeah.
I'll put something together, just like 5 or 10 of my top ones, because like I have like a list of like people that I think could really influence your style and make you at least grow, because I think I kind of have an idea as far as like where you're at right now and where you want to go based on like the type of music that you played and the people you listed off. And very progressive but also very alternative. So
I like picking music and following people that kind of have this like is very, I don't know how to put this, but like how I could relate to like with my personal things. Like whenever I play a song, I find how I relate to it, and then I can put more emotion into the song and sing it or play it better.
For sure. Convey it a little bit better. Communicate it a little more.
You for sure feel it. I think that's why we feel it.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, you gave us goosebumps in like every song you played. You killed it. 5 songs, and there was like what, like maybe 8 tries at max, 10 tries. Yeah, easy session. You did a great job.
There was a hot minute, because every parent thinks that their kid's the cutest and they're the best in the world. And there was a hot minute that it was questionable going,
really?
Man, it sounds good. I think
Really?
I think she's really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were gonna say the opposite. I was like, no. Really? Are you gonna tell me this?
No. It's been fun.
No, you've done a great job, man. You're a great dad.
Well, she's got some serious Mario skills too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that patience, that Mario patience. I'm telling you, it's important.
Yeah. The Nintendo is like my best friend.
What game do you game on?
Mario.
Which one though? There's so many Mario games. There's 1,000 Mario games.
I don't know what it's called.
The very first one.
Yeah.
Like regular Super
NES.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh,
like the old digital ones.
That's what I grew up on. Super Mario Brothers 3 was probably the biggest Christmas present we ever gotten in my entire childhood. And I was 5 years old, 1990. And we got Super Mario Brothers 3 for like regular Nintendo, and all hell broke loose in the house. We opened that thing and we were like, what? Have you seen the Nintendo 64 kid online who's like freaking out? He's like, rah! That was us. With Mario Brothers, like Super Mario Brothers 3. Super Mario Brothers.
I have a
World
parallel
3.
experience with the first Mario Brothers. Absolutely. Christmas present from our Aunt Jenny from Denver, Colorado.
Did it have Duck Hunt included
It
on it?
literally changed our childhood. Oh, yeah. It was the combo Duck Hunt. Yeah, for sure.
I used to manage a video game store. You're sitting in front of like a Virtual Boy. I've got like 20. I've got like more like 10 games on the Virtual Boy, but like 200 Dreamcast games.
Fun.
Dude, I've got like a hole behind you in this closet that nobody knows is behind you. It's just games galore. If you're gamers, I'm so hardcore.
So fun. So fun.
Yeah, I haven't played games in years, but like it is definitely part of my childhood.
For sure.
Part of my makeup. So I give a huge shout out to Nintendo, Sony, and most definitely Sega for making me who I am and making me the creative individual I am. I think video games are important, right?
Yeah.
A lot of games that I played growing up, they, again, made me think differently, like a lot of things. Music, they're very right-brained. You have to be creative to solve puzzles. You have to be creative to finish games. Like, there's a reaction to everything in a game. And there's a lot of motor skills involved, a lot of coordination involved. A lot of people don't take that into consideration when they think about video games. They just think people who are in a vegetative state who just sit there and do this, and this. And that's very well, could be a possibility. But there are games out there that deserve the credit of enhancing an individual's capacity in some manner.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So
That's I learned what dysentery meant from the Oregon Trail. For sure. That guy that stole the plane up in Seattle, he learned how to fly a plane from video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're talking about the Barefoot Bandit.
is that what his name is?
Yeah, Barefoot Bandit.
Man, that there's a
He stole a few
podcast
planes.
well,
Didn't he? Or did he just steal the one
just
plane?
the one I'm talking about. He stole the Alaskan airliner.
It's the Barefoot Bandit.
Yeah, he was on the flight crew and got access to it and was just tired of the way that they were treating their employees and said, you know what, I'm doing it. And there are hours of the audio of him in the cockpit talking to the ground. And man, it is so funny. He does like loop-de-loos in it. Man, it's a tragic story for sure. But I mean, he literally says, they're asking him, do you need help with stuff? And he's like, nah, I'm pretty good. I played video games. What a crazy experience, huh?
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, video games are pretty close to real life. I would say they're a little closer than Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you like seen those VRs?
Yeah, my brother codes VR. And
Whoa, that's awesome.
he's given me some crazy experiences.
I bet.
I'm
Yeah.
like in there and I'm like, how do we know that we right now are not in a virtual reality
Exactly.
simulation?
Just-
How do we know we're not in the Matrix, just connected up to just some cords and we're just feeding the life into some other energy?
We have to take the red pill.
Take the red pill. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's the next instrument you want to learn?
Oh man, I haven't really thought about that very much. That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I really like stringed instruments. I've played like the guitar and the ukulele and the violin and just I like the sound of them. So maybe another stringed instrument. I'm not really sure. Mm-hmm.
I learned an ocarina, by the way, off of Legend of Zelda. Ocarina of Time.
One of my childhood memories.
One of the greatest.
All three of
games.
them.
Oh, dude.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Link is one of my
mean,
favorites.
I love Zelda games. Link is definitely one of my favorites.
Not to mention they were gold. Like, are you kidding me? You're gonna have a gold like cartridge?
Dude, yeah.
Forget about it. Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But
Look at this millennial looking at us.
I know. She's like, what's a cartridge? What's a
I love
CD?
Zelda.
What's a disc?
Totally.
It's crazy to me because like some people walk in that are younger, they have no idea that I have like a record player out there. They have no mention. But when like people who are my age and older, they walk by like, dude, that record player. They actually know what it is.
Totally.
Most people don't even know. They just think it's like a radio.
Yeah, I have a record player in my room and I collect records and I like it's cool.
It does sound a lot different.
Yeah, definitely.
Very vintage.
Yeah.
But it's
ambiance.
It's so good though.
Uh-huh.
It really is. It's clean. And the tapes are coming back too.
Uh-huh.
I have some friends who are starting to record on tapes again, which is weird because I remember when we were growing up, it was like you put a piece of paper in one of your tapes that you hated, like a cheap tape that you bought, and then you just record like whatever songs on the radio that you wanted. You just had to hit the play and record button at the same time, like at the right time. Yep.
I used to loop my favorite song over and over on the tape, so I didn't have to rewind. It would just play over and play over and play over.
Flip to side
You
B.
can't rewind.
Same song.
That's awesome. Be kind, rewind.
That's so funny. Yeah, you don't even know what Be Crying.
You used to get fined for it.
Means. You did.
They would bill you if you didn't rewind your tape.
They would, like 50 cents a video or something like that. And they had these like rewind machines that you put it in and it would go boom, and it'd be done in like 30 seconds, like a whole movie. And like I had friends who had their like rewind things. And I'd be like, can I come over and just like rewind my movie real quick? Because you'd put it in your like VCR.
That was the worst when you sit
rewind.
down, you got your popcorn and it's not rewound. It's just like 10. You gotta wait 10 minutes to have it.
10 minutes. That's if you had like a fast rewinder. Like some of the time, our rewinders were so slow. It was like, so slow, dude. That's so funny.
Or do you? How about the when you would go into the store and you would go over to the new releases and they have a whole line of videos of your favorite movie that you wanted to get and it's beta.
Oh, and you didn't
Do you
have a
remember-
beta player?
No. All the betas were always available and would totally teach
Because
you.
nobody had a beta. Nobody had a beta player. Everybody had
Mhm.
VCR, man. That's so
It's
old
funny, right?
school. That's like 1982 old school.
Yeah, we had Laserdiscs in between that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those were huge. I remember I watched Dancing with Wolves on Laserdisc, and it was like it was an event.
Yeah.
Like it was like the whole neighborhood showed up for like this Laserdisc event.
I
Like
thought
and
it
by the
was.
neighborhood was like 10 kids in sleeping bags.
Mhm.
This giant like those giant tube projecting
Yep.
like giant TVs. It was one of those with a laser projector. It was like the rich kids in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Had the whole wall of entertainment.
Dude, yeah, it was like 1991, 1992,
Mhm.
right when they hit Laserdisc or VHS, and we watched it, and I don't remember it being any different than an actual VHS. But was it better?
I remember
though?
it being crazy. So we never had it. So it was only when I went over to that awesome house growing up.
Yeah.
It blew my mind because it was such a large screen and it was such a wide angle that you could actually see the boom mics and people holding them and like offset where they didn't think was being filmed because then they cut it.
Right.
So it was just like you got to see behind the scenes. So it was so cool to me.
Yeah,
And I
they-
thought like it was like that on all of them.
they had
But
like menus and stuff.
Mhm.
That was like super cutting edge.
how about
like, you
this?
could
Let me
pick
rewind.
the movie.
Oh, I just rewound it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very cool.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Mhm.
you literally click a button and it's rewound.
It's like the first thing. So I'm so old. I remember, how about this? My dad bought a VCR player and it had a remote to it.
Damn.
And it had the remote that had a cord that was stuck from the VCR player to the remote. So it was like growing up, we had this like 25-foot cable running through our living room to whoever it was. Yeah, that was the first remote.
You know what's crazy? That doesn't seem old at all to be.
No.
That's what's crazy.
It's a cool time we live in right now, where we get to see the transformation to like the whole
So
world
weird.
being not anymore on in your phone, but now in your watch.
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my grandparents. These are like multi-millionaires, right? Back in the day. They had this TV that was from like the 70s. And it was in their kitchen in the same place as long as I can remember. And they finally replaced it with another TV probably like 12 years ago, 13 years ago now. But like at the time, it was one of those. It was a corded remote. And when you hit the button, it was like, ka-ching!
Yeah.
Ka-ching! And every time it changed the channel, it wasn't like a quick change. Like you could hear the actual like tube like changing the channel, and you would hear the ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and you would feel it from like you would press the button, and it was like a normal corded button. But then they finally upgraded to another TV. It just wasn't the same though. So like it wasn't grandma's house at that time.
Mm-mm.
It's like, no, grandma, you're like too much like my mom and dad.
For sure.
Can't be like my mom and dad.
Well, how about this? Now you don't even have to watch commercials.
There's no commercials. You just pay to not
whatever
watch
you want. I can
commercials.
remember running home from school because I didn't want to miss Inspector Gadget because it came on that half hour of the day.
Yep.
Man,
It's
no
true.
DVRs.
Dude,
Mhm.
4 o'clock, full house, man, every Tuesday. If I missed Tuesday at 4 o'clock, I'd have to wait until like the next day at the same time to watch the same episode. Because they would do the rerun the next day. And it was Full House, Saved by the Bell.
Yep.
Those are the two shows that were like the big ones when I was growing up. And if you miss those, man, and Simpsons. But Simpsons changed from like Sunday night at like 7 to like Thursday night at 7, and then they went back to like Sunday nights at like 7 back in the day. But it was like those are the shows that I watched. Do you watch The Simpsons? Is Simpsons even cool anymore?
Well, I don't know. About
It's still on for sure.
It is still
I don't
on.
watch it. We don't have cable, so
I
I
don't have regular TV.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
Netflix
you
it
don't
up.
need
yeah. I
Yeah.
just watch Netflix and YouTube.
You guys should use Tubi. Tubi is like way better than Netflix. They have way better shows, way better movies, and it's free.
We'll have to talk about that.
They have a not on Netflix channel that's like literally everything, and then they also have channels within channels. So you go to all these other TV shows that they have for free. So it links you. It's like an aggregator of all
Very
these
cool.
awesome, badass, free things. So I promote Tubi all the time, and they have a really good conspiracy theory line. Like, I'm talking, if you want to talk anything, aliens, Bigfoot, crypto, anything like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's all free, dude. It's like legit. And then Amazon, of course. Amazon's always dope.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of aliens?
What do you think of aliens?
Oh my goodness.
God's an alien. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
I don't know. I don't really think about conspiracy theories that much unless I'm like watching Shane Dawson or something. So on YouTube.
What does Shane Dawson really talk about?
I don't know, just like crazy, just any kind of conspiracy theory, like from mattress stores to like.
Are you talking about the mattress? What is it? Where they think it's a money laundering?
Yeah, like laundering
Yeah,
schemes.
conspiracy. Yeah,
Like
that one's
just-
really interesting.
Yeah,
Actually.
or like conspiracy theories about celebrities. And
You know what the
like,
problem with conspiracy theories?
Hmm.
Some of them are true.
Some of them are true.
And so you just don't know which ones.
There's one on, I think it's on Amazon, and it's called The Mirage Men. And it's a guy who worked, and you can look him up. He's like legit. He worked for the Air Force, and his job was to confuse the UFO community with what is right and what's incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And his job, and this documentary talks about him off the cuff, and he's interviewed this entire time about having infiltrated the UFO community, and he was like, the main part of my job was to give them fact and fiction. He was like, the craziest stuff that you would think is not real, he's like, it's real. Like, the reason why we're out there is to make people not think that it's real.
Yeah.
He was like, so I would take the craziest real things and the craziest not so real things. I'd mix them.
Yeah.
And I would shoot them out to the
water.
people. Yep. And he was like, I would shoot them out to the top people in the UFO community to make, and I would use like different types of like, because he had all government access, so he could create false documents.
They
He could,
still
like, shoot
use that
stuff out
though.
all the time.
That's
man.
standard.
All the
They
time.
did it with the John Jones thing for the UFC.
Totally.
There's 20 different stories, and you have no idea which one to believe.
Yeah.
So you just kind of go,
Totally. You know, and my big question now when it comes to like, I guess like unexplained like type of like aerial phenomenon would be, is it intraterrestrial? Meaning, it could it be from like other types of civilizations that we're not aware of? Like, again, think about 70% of everything on a map has never been touched by man, and 30% of it has like 7 billion people. So we have possibly 6 to 7 billion, like we probably have other civilizations that are so much more high tech than we are, that are controlling where we're at in our development.
One of the big things that I took out
But
of
we
that,
wouldn't know.
all of the media coming out about that fight was Jeff Novitzky talking about how our microscopes, that we have so much science that we can't comprehend it. So like, how do we know that there aren't already here? We have seven. How many senses do we have? Like so like
What,
maybe
5 senses, and the 6th sense is like
5 senses.
supposed to be like your third eye or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, maybe we can't see them. Maybe they're already here.
They are here. They're shadow people, man, and they follow me. And I've talked about that on some of my other podcasts where I literally have shadow people who follow me.
So
Weird.
in another life, I
But, like,
did a
not
lot of
like
commercial janitorial work. So we were in many buildings at night alone. There has been some things that I cannot explain. Things moving, things seeing things that I just kind of go, I gotta stop listening to Art Bell. Like,
Totally.
he's planting seeds.
Totally.
But there are just strange things, from elevators to all kinds of just sounds, unexplainable.
Well, and if you're sensitive to it
Mm-hmm.
and you open yourself up to it, it's amazing what you will feel and what you hear and see. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, when we come back, I'll have to tell you all about my psychic
should.
experiences.
We'll have to have like you should come back and do a conspiracy theory podcast.
Definitely.
So, But everybody who is listening, we've gone for a solid hour. Is that good with you?
No, I love it. This has been so fun, Tim. Thank you so much.
Caitlyn, I'm so sorry that we didn't spend more time focusing on you,
Oh,
but
that's
you
okay.
did
you are
play
here.
5 amazing songs.
Yeah.
Your dad and I just started geeking out, but yeah, let's get you back on. When you have other songs or whatnot, just have your dad reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that we schedule some studio time for you, and we'll have
That'd
you
be
back
awesome.
on. We'll do an update. So you are right now, you're in 8th grade. You are a semester through it. You are a
Yep.
basketball player. You play multiple instruments, and that's piano, guitar, violin.
Ukulele, and I sing. I've kind of started kind of doing like beats and like loop box and like stuff like that. Just I play around with that sometimes, so it's fun.
Nice. That's
Going
awesome.
into the track season.
Yeah, track.
Oh
Love
my
track.
goodness. Okay, what do you do for track?
I do a lot
Everything?
of things. Yeah, I do long distance and short distance. I do
How'd
the
you-
mile.
Cool.
I got first in city doing the mile.
That's good.
And then I love relays too and running long jump.
Nice. That's what I did, running long jump.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pretty good, man. I think I did like 21 feet when I was
That's a good jump.
when I was a freshman.
Yeah, really good job.
I think I did 21.9 was my freshman jump. It might have been 23.9, but I think it was 21.9. But anyways, I did okay. But yeah, track is awesome. I wasn't much of a runner, but I was definitely a jumper. I did high jump. I think I did like 6'9" on the high jump, and I did as a freshman, and then I did the 21.9, 21.3.
Jumpers.
21.3.
Whenever we were over with the pole vaulters, we used to always look at the people on the
Those
track.
guys
and
are
just
hard.
laughing.
Those guys are hardcore. And the do you guys throw javelin? And what do you guys do nowadays? You guys
It's-
hammer throw anything?
We
Shot
there's-
put, right?
Yeah, there's shot put, and then there's
Discus.
discus. And then the three jumps: high jump, long jump, and
Triple jump.
triple jump. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a bunch of different relays.
Hurdles.
Hurdles. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then long distance, there's the 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good for you. Stick with it. That's what I did. Did track, football. I skateboarded. I was a sponsor skateboarder for years. I did, again, music, everything. So when I have you on the show, I'm like, dude, you are like the girl version of me. And that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep up the hard work. We really appreciate you spending some time on the show,
Yeah,
doing a
for
quick little unplugged session. Everybody, this is Jason Hosick and his
Hello.
daughter Caitlyn, and we really appreciate you signing in and listening to us. Make sure that you subscribe, give us 5 stars, pass the episode along, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Good job, Caitlyn.
Peace.
Thank you.